First and foremost, I think at the very top of the list of what is necessary, other than the law for equality, it is social awareness. That's the first and foremost thing, because that's what changes the mindset of society. That's what, it adds on to the protection that democracy and the law can give you. It actually makes the difference, and it was evident, and it's very evident in South Africa with the crimes and so forth. The law is not enough. So it's that kind of awareness, and I think it's also in the same in terms of gender violence. The rapes are in India and in South Africa. Congo even. So this is something where it shows that, law is not sufficient enough. The provision of human rights is not sufficient. And at the end of the day, you need a social intervention, to change the mindset of not just the people who actually perpetrate, but also for the people who are on the other end of this. And second, is for also the LGBTI people to understand themselves, for gay people to understand transgender people, for lesbians to understand cross-dressers, because you find there's a lot of phobias, or transphobia, or even homophobia within the LGBTI community. And that's a very, very big problem, because at the end of the day, if we're trying to present ourselves that, listen, we deserve the dignity of normal human beings, at least we must also treat ourselves with that same dignity. So, those are two issues. And I think maybe the third issue is basically, it almost goes back to the first one. It's basically being not only true to yourself, but being true to those who you love, those who you interact with every day, whether it's at work or at school. It's setting an example, and that's changing of the mindset. So, for the world to be a better place, it definitely is quite ideal, but you do need all those three things, because at the end of the day, a lot of injustices that are occurring now will still carry on. The main problem of LGBTI people in Botswana is that they don't understand themselves and people who they share differences with. I think it's really, really important for us as a community to form a basis of understanding, in that not only are we all different, but we all have the same cause, because we all want the same thing. We want to be seen in the same light that, heterosexual people are seen. We all want to experience and express ourselves in the same way that people who are heterosexual, experience and, express themselves. So I think, that is the first and most fundamental thing you need if you want to have a cause. If you want to actually have someone believe in you, you need to treat yourself in that respect, in that regard. And, it really is a problem, because people are very, very complacent. They're very, very comfortable. They're comfortable with just with being in the closet. They're comfortable with just being able to have your partner live with you and not think about the privileges that marriage, grants you. So, even if you don't want to get married, at the end of the day, at least, knowing very well that, you cast a vote in democracy, you want to know that you at least have the same privilege, to which it shouldn't even be a privilege. It should be a basic right. So I think it's for the LGBTI community to understand themselves, because this is you then realize that homophobia is an institutionalized thing. It's something that subconsciously you practice yourself, and you are a hypocrite yourself. So, I feel like that is the biggest challenge, the biggest mountain that LGBTI people have, is themselves, because when you're in a comfort zone, you cannot learn, you cannot take risks, you cannot develop as an individual. And I think a lot of potential is to be realized when people can actually understand themselves. That's why someone can feel like coming out, that's why someone can feel like doing things when they actually are more comfortable with themselves, when they understand their sexuality. So I think that's the big thing, where everyone must understand each other within the LGBTI community, such that when we face the world, then we are as one. So definitely, I think it's Lady Gaga and Beyonce, and that's where I sort of had a problem, is that, these people, they aren't, well, They aren't necessarily, you can't, when you look at them, you can't say, oh no, that's a gay man, or that's a lesbian, or that's a, transgender individual. And when you're trying to look for one all across Africa, for someone who they can actually say, that is the person that, that is the Nelson Mandela of the LGBTI movement, there isn't one. And this is a problem, obviously. On paper, express their love to the person that they love. Whether it's marriage or it's actually being able to have the same, insurance coverage as spouses and so forth, getting the same benefits that heterosexual couples get. That is what the general feel of human rights all across the board. And I think, it really is, it's something that it's limited in the sense that, the law doesn't necessarily change how someone will see you. It doesn't change how someone will treat you. It doesn't change how someone will react towards what you do or your behavior. And that is something where inequality is brought about. And equality and human rights go hand in hand in the sense that at the end of the day, you need human rights to be facilitated by the jurisdiction in which you live in or in which you, operate in or behave in, and that at the end of the day allows for you to be treated equally. It provides for equality. And the main problem is that, especially in Botswana, people sort of view Upper Africa as a worse situation where there are certain injustices to human rights, and they feel like because it doesn't happen to them in Botswana, because it's a peaceful state and there isn't much reported on these issues, they feel like it's good, they feel like it's fine, they're comfortable where they are. And this is where I think I have a very, very big problem, because people don't understand that human rights, included in those human rights is someone giving you the dignity of being another human, and it is not the case even if they were provided for those human rights by the law. And I think this kind of inequality is something that can be brought about with discussion and actual awareness of all these issues that we've been speaking about. So I think basically the general consensus on human rights is the person being able to walk down on the street, being able to hold their lover by their hands, being able to kiss their lover in public, but I really feel like it is not enough, as equality needs to be brought about just as much as the human rights need to be there. In summary, Pink Anatomy is something that the LGBT community can turn to if they want to sort of see what other LGBT individuals go through, if they want to understand other LGBT individuals. It is a platform that allows for discussion, for thought, for introspection for the LGBT individual, but not only that, but also for heterosexual people, for people to sort of understand the issues that affect us every day, whether it's an opinion on current affairs or something that has to do with a very new story or revelation to something that is hugely against the LGBTI. And this is basically a platform that allows for understanding within the LGBT community, and for those people who are they're not necessarily inclined to the LGBT community, but they're friendly to that community, for them to gain a better understanding, and as well for straight people and really homophobic people to also get that sort of understanding, so that they can find common ground in the sense that we're people with different talents, we're people with different capabilities, and we also go through the same life troubles and challenges, and we just happen to be people who are different in the sense that we identify ourselves differently, and we happen to be sexually diverse. So Pink Anatomy tries to stay relevant in the sense that we get input even from the LGBT community and even straight people and their own opinions, and we try and reconcile all these different views into something that people can actually say that but this is actually this is more about humanity, this is more about understanding this is more about bringing together, different minds and shifting that perspective into a more evolved consensus of general LGBTI issues and the challenges that they face in the current world.